good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we're going to continue our look at all of these lovely cards from Full Metal Wall by looking at a really rather exciting Melmetal card. Now, this is, of course, somewhat interesting, because, of course, we've seen Melmetal GX, I'll pop a link in the description, and we've seen Lucario and Melmetal GX, I'll pop a link in the description, but we've not actually seen a non-GX Melmetal before. Well, ladies and gentlemen, might I introduce you to a non-GX Melmetal. Now, I should mention our translation here comes from the lovely Joe over at Cerebi.net, with some information checked from the lovely David Hochmann, who we all know by now is rather lovely. And this, look, the set is called Full Metal Wall. It's going to be an Unbroken Bond over here, but the set is called Full Metal Wall. And this is a walling Pokemon. And that is really the draw here. So, weakness to fire, a bit annoying because of Blacephalon. Resistance to Psychic, it's resistance, it's quite nice. Maybe there's a Garbodor running around. But you have a retreat cost of 4. And a retreat cost of 4 means that you can use buff padding to give yourself an extra 50 HP. Now, you're starting off with 150 HP, which is very large for a stage 1. It's not up there with Wailord or indeed Wailord, but other than that, 150 is pretty gosh darn good. So you've got a high HP, and you can use buff padding. This is very, very nice. There's also a whole bunch of ways that metal Pokemon can reduce damage. We'll go through those in a minute. You could, of course, use Delmise if you wanted to do a little bit of extra damage. And let's not forget you're hitting weakness against stuff like Sylveon and Gardevoir, which is going to be important. That deck, as I mentioned in a recent video, link in the description, is crushing in Japan right now. The ability, though, is probably what we like most about this card. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may discard a metal Pokemon from your hand. If you do, heal 100 damage from this Pokemon. Healing 100 damage, ladies and gentlemen, is over the top brokenly good. Something like Potion heals 30. And that sees a little bit of play. Something like Max Potion will completely heal if you don't mind getting rid of all of the energy on the Pokemon. The best thing we can look at here is probably Gold Potion. Gold Potion was an A-Spec trainer card. A card that was so good it had to be an A-Spec, and you could only play one A-Spec of any description in your deck. If you wanted to play Gold Potion, you'd have to give up something like Computer Search to do so. That's pretty ridiculous. And that healed 90 damage. This heals 100. There is a very, very, very tiny advantage here in that Garbodor does 20 extra damage for each item card in your discard. So discarding a Pokemon rather than an item card will actually really help you here. And, of course, you don't need to worry about getting rid of Pokemon too much, because when you've discarded, 3 Pokemon, just rescue Stretcher them back again, and you'll be absolutely fine. And yes, I know that will let Garbodor do 20 extra damage, but 20, not 60. As I've said, your HP and resistance probably means you're not worried about Garbodor anyway. Now, of course, there is the counter-argument here of, well, hang on a second, aren't you going to want your Pokemon? And the answer is quite possibly yes. What you don't want to be doing is discarding a bunch of Melmetal from your hand so you never get a second Melmetal set up, so that you never actually end up having an answer when your opponent takes a KO. That's a pretty bad thing, to be perfectly honest with you. But most of the time, you're going to be able to deal with this. Most of the time, you're going to be able to either discard Pokemon you're fine with or use a rescue Stretcher. It does, however, mean that you really want to be focusing on a very metal-heavy deck. If you're playing a bunch of non-metal Pokemon, I don't know, maybe you're playing stuff like Naganadel to try and accelerate energy or whatever, that's going to be a slight issue, because they're not metal Pokemon. You do kind of want to go full metal here. So you've got 150 HP. You can heal 100 damage per turn, and you can use buff padding to give yourself an extra 50 HP. This is nice. This gives you an awful lot of survivability. But it doesn't actually end there. We've seen a bunch of Pokemon in Full Metal Wall which are really going to help you. You've got a Alolan Dug Trio, a stage 1 that reduces damage done to your Pokemon by 10 damage. That's quite nice. We have, of course, had Metal Frying Pan for a while here, reduces damage done by 30 and takes away your weakness. But we're actually getting Metal Core Barrier in this set, which is an item card. Now, it's a tool that only stays on for one turn. After one turn, it goes away, just like Bursting Balloon used to. But for that one turn, the metal Pokemon to which it is attached, i.e. Melmetal, takes 70 less damage from attacks. That is redonkulous. And then, of course, we have got Lucario and Melmetal Tag Team GX that has a GX attack for 1 colorless energy, which means for the rest of the game, your metal Pokemon take 30 less damage from attacks. And if we put that all together, let's say you've got a full metal core attached, and you've used your GX attack. All of a sudden, we've got 150 HP. We are reducing damage done to us by 100 and then healing 100 the following turn. Now, the problem is, as much as I love Metal Core Barrier, it is that or Brawny Pads. You've got to make the decision here. Now, if it was Metal Frying Pan or Brawny Pads, I'd be saying Brawny Pads if you want to avoid a one-hit KO, Metal Frying Pan if it's a more than one-hit KO. But this actually will protect you better than Brawny Pads, but it is only for a single turn. So the reality here is you're probably playing a mixture of them. Brawny Pads for the long game, Metal Core Barrier for the individual attack. And then you can be adding stuff like a Alolan Dugtrio on there as well. In Expanded, you can even go into Shield Energy and Reverse Valley, each of which will reduce damage done to you by 10, and then you are just into Can't KO Me territory. And we've seen a bunch of Pokemon that can use all of this stuff, including, of course, Melmetal GX, who's got the same ability as a Sizzle from Lost Thunder that reduces damage done to you by 30 from attacks, in addition to everything else. The thing that this has is you can heal 100 every turn. Now, that's not going to stop you getting one-hit KO'd, but between stuff like Metal Core Barrier, Brawny Pads, Lucario and Melmetal's GX attack, you should be able to avoid one-hit KOs more often than not. Even something like Weakness, you can go against Blacephalon and be like, look, I'm attaching a Metal Frying Pan, so if I've used a GX attack as well, you've got to use 5 energy, lost zoning 5 energy, just to take 1 prize. And they do have Field Blower. Field Blower will take you down to 180 HP with the GX attack, essentially. And you'll be weak. So then it's only 2 energy. But any turn they don't have a Field Blower, are they really going to be ditching 5 energy into the Lost Zone to KO a single prize Pokemon? And if they don't, in comes the healing. Now, all this healing and walling means it can be used in a stall deck. You could actually just play stuff like Max Potion and Ace Roller and never attack with this and just go, look, I've used my GX attack, and with Brawny Pads I've basically got 230 HP and I can heal using my ability, or I can just heal with Max Potion Ace Roller and you can never win the game. But there is an attack here that we can use. It's alright. Metal free colorless 130 damage. Now the 130 is perfect because that will get a one-hit KO with weakness against something like Sylveon and Gardevoir Tag Team GX, and then obviously it will also get Sylveon GX and Gardevoir GX. And with a Choice Band and a Shrine of Punishment, you will be getting a Tapu Lele, and then you can just keep going with Shrine of Punishment for multiple turns to get other GXs. And 130 means an instant KO on something like a Buzzwole. I mean, in theory, Granbull and White Kyurem as well, but they are weak, so you'll be getting them. Ooh, you'll be double KOing them. So the numbers here is perfect. 130 is a great number. 170 is a great number. 260 with weakness is a great number. You're actually getting some really key KOs here. And it's one metal free colorless, so you could use it with something like Solgaleo Prism Star or Magnezone to accelerate metal energy, but you could just as easily use it with something like Malamar, which is accelerating psychic energy. Although, like I said before, if you're not playing that many metal Pokemon, you do run the risk of not having a Pokemon in hand in order to use the ability. Although you can use cards like Timer Ball and Ultra Ball here to search out your Pokemon, and you can't search out something like a Max Potion that easily. So it can work as an attacker here. It's pretty expensive, but 130 is the key number for non-GXs, for Tag Team GXs for weakness, and for stuff like Tapu Lele with a Choice Band and a Shrine of Punishment. I like the attack, but I think walling is really what this Pokemon is made for. So I am going to cautiously and potentially generously award it 4 Wassies because it's a walling Pokemon that can heal itself really significantly while using stuff like Brawny Pads and Lucario and Melmetal Tag Team GX's GX attack. I think there is a lot to like here. But tell me, ladies and gentlemen, how much do you like this? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. But please do remember the most important rule as always. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And do please make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where we talk Transformers and Keyforge and other games that take my fancy. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.